Are you considering buying a house but not sure where to start? Do you start with finding a real estate agent and going out and looking at homes? Or do you find a lender first and get pre-approved? Or do you just start looking at property, find the right one, and then go through the process of finding your mortgage professional and real estate agent? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. My name is Jeb Smith. I'm a real estate broker here in Southern California. And in today's video, we're going to take you step by step through the process of home buying, through buying a house. Where should you start from the very beginning? And it's going to be a little bit different depending on where you are in the process. Maybe you have some of these initial steps completed already. Maybe you don't, but we're going to take you through that process and help you understand how to navigate it to have the best experience when buying a house. And that first step that you're going to start with is budgeting. Find out how much you can actually spend per month on a mortgage payment. Now, you probably are renting something now. Perhaps you already own something and you're looking to buy something else and you're just trying to figure out, how much you can budget for, but it's really putting down your expenses and finding out how much you can spend on that mortgage payment. Now, this sounds really elementary, but most people don't do it. They start with the process of actually getting approved. The lender comes back and says, hey, this is how much you can purchase. This is how much your mortgage payment would be. And people just say, yeah, without ever considering, can they truly afford that amount per month? The emotion gets over, the emotion takes over, and they're excited about the home buying process, and they really skip the very first step of budgeting. And once you have that budget in mind, the next thing you have to consider is, do you have money for a down payment? The minimal down payment loans out there, FHA, require you to have 3.5% down. Conventional loans you can also purchase with a minimum of 3% down. And then you have VA loans that you can purchase with no money down if you're a veteran. So you need at least 3.5% down for a down payment. Now, there's a lot of myths out there, a lot of misconceptions that you need 20% down when buying a home. And that's not the case. Now, 20% allows you to purchase using a conventional loan without having mortgage insurance, which is ideally the best type of financing out there if you can qualify for it. But not everybody has 20% down, and you don't necessarily have to have 20% down to purchase a home, but you do need a down payment. You have to have money for closing costs in most cases. And that money can come from a gift in some cases. So if you have, a parent, a family member, somebody that's willing to gift you that money, then that will work as well. But having that budget, knowing that you have money for a down payment and closing cost is kind of the next step. And credit. Right? Do you have good credit? Do you have bad credit? Have you been paying your bills on time? There are websites out there at the moment where you can pull this data to get an idea of what your credit score is. But understand, it's a different model typically than what most mortgage lenders use. So if your credit is showing, that you have excellent credit with one of the, the third-party sites out there, just understand that it could change a bit when actually talking to a mortgage professional. But if you're pulling it and you have really, really bad credit, chances are that's going to translate when talking to a mortgage professional as well. But, those are really the first steps. Do you have credit? Do you pay your bills on time? Do you have money for a down payment and closing costs? And then do you have a budget? And then the next step, it can kind of go one of two ways. One, you can find a real estate agent first, or you can find a mortgage professional first. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong way here, but I would tell you if you start with a real estate professional, chances are they're going to refer you to a mortgage professional because any real estate agent out there wants to know that their home buyer, the buyer that they're showing homes to, is actually qualified to purchase a home. And the only way to know that is have them go through the pre-approval process. Now, you've heard what's the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification? And I'll link to a video here where you can get more information on that. But essentially, the difference is, one, you're just talking to a lender, having a conversation telling them this is my income, this is where I think my credit is, and not really providing any documentation. That's a pre-qualification. That in this market is not going to stand. You need a full pre-approval. A pre-approval requires you to submit documentation along with filling out that loan application. And that, what documentation do they need? Typically it's tax returns, it's pay stubs, it's asset documentation, 401ks, IRAs, checking accounts, savings account, more or less to provide, proof that you have, the money that you say you do on the application, and the money for the down payment and the closing costs. Now, people will ask, well, how much do I need for closing costs? How much do I need for a down payment? It's going to vary depending on how much you get approved for, how much your closing costs are, and that's going to change from lender to lender, from home purchase to home purchase. It's not always going to be the same, and that's why it's important to have these conversations up front, because that way you know exactly what you're getting into when going through that home buying process. Otherwise, you start the process of looking at homes. You find a home that you absolutely love, you go find a real estate agent, they're ready to write an offer for you, then you go through the pre-approval process and find out maybe you don't qualify, maybe the payment's higher than you thought it would be and you don't want to spend that much. There's a lot of different factors that could go into it, and that's why it's essential that you start either with a real estate agent that refers you to a lender, or a lender that can guide you through that pre-approval process to check the documentation to make sure that you are ready to go. And if you need one of those professionals, if you need a real estate professional or a mortgage professional, do me a favor, reach out to me directly. I'll put a link in the description below where you can get more, find me directly and ask for that information. But I'm happy to put you in touch with a professional, regardless of where you are in the United States, that can guide you through that process. I network with a lot of these people that do business the same way I do, and I'm happy to make that connection so that you know that you're getting taken care of. So if you need one of those people, reach out. But once you get the pre-approval, then you need to find the right real estate agent, right? And if you don't have that person, like I mentioned, you can reach out to me directly. But once you have the pre-approval and the real estate agent, then you start looking at property. You can look at it online, you can look at it in person, depending on what state you're located in. And once you find that property, that's when you start writing offers, right? The offer writing process, and there are different things to know when writing an offer on a property, which I'll link to in a video here. Then I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but once you've been pre-approved and you've found the right real estate agent, it's that's the fun part begins, right? You've done the difficult work in most cases. This is a crazy market, so finding the right property could also be difficult, but typically speaking, home buying is a fun process. You get to go out and look at properties, you get to see different things, and once you find the right property, then you start writing an offers and hopefully get something accepted. And now there's a lot of steps that are skipped in this video on purpose, just to keep the video short. And I'm happy to guide you through that process if you need more information. So reach out to me directly. But those are the basics, right? You want to start with a budget. You want to make sure you have money for a down payment and closing cost. You want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time, that you have decent credit, so to speak, and that you can actually qualify for a loan. Then you want to speak to that lender, that real estate agent, and then start writing offers. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of guidance and puts you down the right path. But if you have additional questions, do me a favor, reach out to me directly. And if you have any comments, any things that you want to know that I haven't talked about here, you can leave those below as well. But for now, I appreciate the support. I appreciate your time. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.